Hello and welcome to another episode of The Week That Was, a weekly program where we catch up with the news that made it to the headlines in the past week. This week we look at the week from 23rd to 29 November 2022, and the headlines are taken from the Voice of Goa Herald. The recurrence of the Sonali Phogat type of case, the nightmare of noise pollution, and a minor drunk driver taking a life. These are the stories, and other stories which have made it to the headline this week will be reviewed on this episode. To discuss these and other stories, I have with me the group editor of Herald publication, Mr. Sujay Gupta. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So on 23rd November, the Supreme Court dismisses all mining petitions against the order to vacate the leases, and the Supreme Court had declined to entertain the special leave petitions of the former mining leaseholders, and this appeal was made after the High Court had given this judgment dismissing this batch of several petitions.
See, on the 4th of May 2022, it was decided by the courts that the initial Supreme Court judgment, which basically said that the mining owners need to clear their leases, that was reiterated on the 4th of May. They had to vacate all the leases by the 6th of June 2022.
Okay.
That was the cutoff date.
Yeah.
Okay. Now on the 6th of June 2022, they were supposed to vacate. During that interim period, all the mine owners, erstwhile mine owners, approached the High Court, objecting to this particular order.
Yeah.
On October 7th, 2022, the High Court decided or declined or rejected the special leave petition and upheld the decision of the Supreme Court initially.
Yeah.
To not upheld. They went by those directives and said those directives of the Supreme Court need to be followed. So this decision was given on the 7th of October 2022.
Yeah.
Post which the mine owners then approached the Supreme Court in a slew of SLPs, which finally the Supreme Court decided to turn down, saying that look, the original decision of the High Court dated October 7, 2022 was absolutely perfect, and the point is these mining companies need to vacate the leases to allow mining to restart, the auctioning process to restart. So basically all the mining companies keep on knocking the doors of the court every time an adverse decision comes, to keep the whole decision in abeyance as long as possible because of the excuse that the appeal is being filed in the High Court.
Yeah.
And the issue they've kind of done this and pulled through like this for years and years and years.
Yeah.
They're running out of legal options on almost every of these aspects, as we can see.
Now, apart from the legal tangle which is involved and approaching
Yes.
the courts to delay the process,
Yes.
The mining stakeholders would be still looking forward to the auction and when mining will restart. That is the question before everyone.
That is okay. That question is before everyone, and we also need to figure out the system and the process that is deployed. Ultimately, see, the bottom line of all this has to be that the state is the custodian of all the mineral resources, and the dividends of the sale of iron ore should ultimately get back to the people. Now, there is still no clarity on whether these principles are going to be followed in any system that is going to be followed. And that is a key question, because if you are now transferring the state's wealth from the hands of a few mine owners to another batch of mine owners, with the people not actually benefiting from it, then the reason why mining stopped and why the mining restarted, that reason gets nullified.
Defeats the very
It
purpose.
defeats the very purpose.
Okay. Then on 24th November 2022, we have a headline in the Herald relating to this drugs, nightclub, partying and hospital, same script in the Kalangut case. And here we are referring to the Sonali Phogat case, wherein similar cast and characters come down to Goa. There is a doctor involved this time and a female companion, and they consume drugs. The woman is taken ill, and this reflects very much the Sonali Phogat case which had occurred.
See, the only reason why this case has not made such huge headlines is because the woman, and thank God for that, has survived.
Yeah.
We are still to look into whether a drug overdose happened or not happened. But the point here is that when it comes to the rich and the powerful, without casting any aspersions in this case, but at the same time one can't turn a blind eye to the pattern in this.
Yeah.
But the point is when it comes to the rich and the powerful, it is much easier to hush up a case when there is no death.
Yeah.
And the you know and the person is very much there, and we will closely scrutinize and keep a watch on this, because the point here is that there is every suspicion, since the FIR also has been booked under the NDPS Act, that this couple consumed drugs. An unnamed drug peddler has been picked up who allegedly supplied drugs to them or cocaine to them at a particular nightclub.
Yeah.
Now all this is fine. In the last 3 or 4 days after we reported this, seems to be a strange silence on the case.
Yeah.
My point is, if there is an unknown drug peddler, why is that drug peddler not turned from unknown to known?
Yeah.
Why have they not? Why is the drug peddler still not in the custody of the police?
Yeah.
My point is, why is there no clarity on whether drugs were consumed or not consumed?
Yeah.
Have they got the report from the private hospital, and what has the private hospital sent to the police? All these things need to be taken into account, because if there has been a consumption of drugs, then cases still have to be filed against both the unfortunate victim who fortunately survived,
Yeah.
as well as her partner or her partner or companion, whatever you call it, the doctor from Varanasi.
Yeah.
He also has been, by the way, charged with not giving timely medical help.
Yeah.
So all these things need to be, when you put all this out, we need to see when the charge sheet is filed, what are the details of the case, and we need to get to the bottom of it.
Then on the same day, on November 24th, we have a page 1 anchor where we look at the story about the incessant digging that is taking place all across the city.
Yeah.
And the headline reads, Panjim looks like a war zone without bombs. And at a time when it is the peak tourist season, that is Efi, St. Francis Xavier feast, Christmas, and leading up to New Year and Carnival, there has been incessant digging, including digging in the arterial roads. And now the only justification is that there was a 5-decade-old sewage system, sewage lines which were there, and now it is sought to be is sought to be completely revamped, and a new system under smart city, the new sewage system is sought to be.
Yeah, see, let's break this down very simply for viewers, and let's ask some simple questions. The smart city project has been on for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Underground sewerage system was very much part of the smart city project.
Yeah.
Firstly, why did it take 7 years to get this done?
Yeah.
Secondly, how can you have a piecemeal digging in this kind of a manner, where the roads are dug once for one utility, they are dug again for another utility? Why is there not proper planning and an underground underground plan made, where an underground utility plan will be able to tell you what is needed, what are the lines that need to be put in, power lines, water lines, sewage lines, and have a duct system. Now, what we do not understand, we completely baffled as to why, when there is the International Film Festival going on in your capital city, you need to dig all the roads up at that very moment.
Yeah.
Where the entire Panjim, and there are so many tourists, you are showcasing Panjim also to the international audience. There are so many actors, directors, film fraternity people, journalists, film lovers, and is this the way you present your city to an international audience? That means you are actually insulting the people who are the guests who are coming in.
And in many places, the access to the heritage buildings and the heritage quarter has been cut off.
And secondly, the point is, it is not only about tourists. Look at the inconvenience that you are causing even to the locals, because when you dig up the entire city, there are people who can hardly move out of their own homes.
Yeah.
As we have seen on the road right next to our studio in the South Tome Road,
Yeah.
that our own people have to climb through mountains of mud to enter.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, it's a cause of inconvenience. We do not understand why the timing was chosen in such a manner to coincide completely with the IFI.
Yeah. Okay, then our fourth story for today is dated November 25th, and the headline reads, the CM urges the people to file a police complaint against government job providers, in inverted commas. Now, CM has quoted the Prime Minister of the country saying, "Na khaunga, na khane dunga," and this is about this is the aftermath of about 1,200 job letters which are handed over by the CM to many of the new recruits. And it was said that there are some people who are trying to give jobs in the name of government jobs and they should be booked, and people should come forward and complain about them.
Look, this whole maxim, na khaunga na khane dunga, was essentially espoused by the Prime Minister when he said that I'm going to run a corruption-free government.
Yeah.
It literally translates into that I will not allow you to, I will not take bribes. So khaunga is a reference to that. Nor will I allow anybody else to take bribes.
Yeah.
Okay, which is again the next part of it, saying na khane dunga. The point here is that here you are referring to government officers and other people in the government, or it could be elected representatives also, who take bribes to give government jobs. The point that one is making is that if you already are in a system where bribe giving and bribe taking for government jobs is so apparent,
Yeah.
that the Chief Minister himself has to warn people, not warn or caution people and tell them you report to the police, is an admission that bribe giving and taking for government jobs is existing as of now.
Yeah.
That itself is a very sad and a shocking feedback.
Yeah.
The point is, when you have to say this, you are already admitting that bribe giving and bribe taking takes place. Secondly, the irony here is that you are asking the people to report to the police. But do we honestly believe that bribe taking and bribe giving is only restricted to government jobs? Hasn't this whole disease permeated into every aspect of society, including when you're talking of government jobs, a police job is also a government job.
Yeah.
Where is the guarantee that the police officer who's going to listen to your complaint has himself not had to pay for the post that he is in?
Yeah.
So and he also kind of owes his position to some leader who has either blessed him, or some benefactor who has paid for his posting, or the fact that he has earned enough wealth to pay for a posting to earn more wealth.
Yeah.
So the idea is that when your system is entirely corrupt, then you cannot kind of ask one section of the corrupt system to go to another section of the corrupt system, because the corrupt cannot be policing the corrupt. So the idea here is that it's very important to have a corruption-free society, and for that I think people themselves have to be also morally incorruptible, because when your journey with democracy starts with taking a bribe to vote, then you lose all moral right to even question anybody about corruption.
Yeah,
so I think it is very important for us to look at this holistically, and na khaunga na khane dunga cannot only be a maxim for one particular arm of the government.
Yeah.
It has to be an overall maxim for not just the government but civic society and civil society as well.
Okay. So then we move on to November 26th, our fifth story for the day. The state government notifies outline development plans. Now in this, the ODPs for Panjim, Talegaon, Bamboli and Mapsa areas are on the table, and the draft plans are sought to be made by roping in experts and international consultants. That is the claim. And these, the TCP Minister Vishwajit Rane said that the ODPs will be prepared under the leadership of the NGPDA chairperson and MLA Jennifer Montserrat. And the GBA, which was in the forefront of scrapping of previous plans which are not acceptable to the people, has said that this drafting of the ODPs is good, but it should be a transparent exercise.
That is very true, because right now let us first sit down and strongly tell ourselves that we should first have a proper regional plan in place.
Yeah.
Without the umbrella of the regional plan, there cannot be any development taking place when you do not know what your larger picture is.
Yeah.
So there is no plan doing an ODP for a particular area, whether it is Kalangut or Para or Panjim or whatever. Greater Panjim is no longer there, but all these areas. Because firstly, the regional plan should completely outline first the way our development is envisaged in the next, say, 20 years. And unless you do that, then there is no point having outline development plans. And this is what people have always said, that right now, since we've got the opportunity to start afresh, let us put our 2031 plan in place.
Yeah.
Let us also have certain guiding principles of this planning. For instance, what is important is we need to preserve the basic pristine nature of our villages and rural areas.
Yeah.
And that is one mandate that has to come. Secondly, we have to see that there has to be limit to urbanization, and there has to be a certain cap. Thirdly, we must ensure that our rural areas which are already become urbanized do not get further urbanized. You cannot transform Para and Calangute into big cities and towns now.
Yeah.
Because primarily what is important is that you can actually construct a lot of buildings there. You can do any planning and make it into a town. But the point is, it's going to actually affect the water reservoirs, it's going to affect the Khazan lands, it's going to affect the orchards and water bodies.
Yeah.
And the carrying capacity of that soil is not equipped to take so much of construction.
Yeah.
So it's going to actually affect the entire riverine system, it's going to affect the Khazan system, it's going to affect land under cultivation. So my point is, your entire ecosystem has to be completely linked with the planning. So planning is just not just an exercise for construction.
Yeah.
It's a holistic plan which also takes into account preservations much more than construction. So unless your preservation plan is ready, your construction plan cannot be ready. For this, your feedback will come from your local biodiversity committees. It will come from the local people. The local panchayats will be able to give you feedback before you can do it. So the whole grassroots planning has to start first, leading up to the overall 2031 plan, rather than get into ad hoc ODPs.
Then on November 27th, we have and November 28th, that is Sunday and Monday, we have two headlines in the Herald, and this is a story or an issue which has been taken very seriously by Herald and Herald TV, and that has to do with this techno music. So the headline reads, Goa in a trance, get set for overnight techno gigs at Anjuna, Vagator, Shapora. And this is about techno parties which go on at various clubs and which continue till 7 a.m. destroying the peace of the place.
Yes.
You know, this affects the senior citizens, the students and people at large. And the second day, that is, we carried the headline on Monday 28th, and that story had to do with a discussion which was held on Herald TV, and that headline read, noise pollution is a man-made issue, SDM Pollution Board and police have to crack this together, Goa Pollution Control Board Chairman.
Yes. We've also obviously been discussing this for a very long time. Many of our viewers may have seen the last debate discussion that we had on noise pollution. Firstly, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank deeply all viewers, readers of Herald and others who've appreciated this and have reacted very strongly and bravely, giving their names and naming and ultimately pinpointing the establishments that are doing it, also speaking openly about the fact that they are running up against a brick wall when they are complaining to the police.
Yeah.
There are people who've called us up and said that certain police officers have blocked their numbers and not allowed them to, and are not taking complaints.
Yeah.
Some people, honest people of the Noise Pollution Committee have said this. So the public response to this, and the public response to this, strengthened by the fact that Herald has taken up this issue, has been very, very heartwarming and a sign that a change can happen if people get together.
Yeah.
So I think we need to flag that. Coming to the stories that we did, yes, of course, we highlighted the fact that irrespective of all the rules and regulations in place, the fact that large number of trance and techno parties, especially in the month of now December, because we'll enter December in 48 hours.
Yeah.
In the month of December and January, there are a series of literally 50 to 60 EDM and trance parties lined up in different kinds of venues, most of them secret. And one can say with absolute certainty that none of them have got any permission to play music after 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
There are foreign DJs who are there playing this music. Their names are advertised through social media. There is one particular club which actually advertises itself openly on Facebook, saying this is the home for psychedelic and trance parties. There is a Facebook group. It is absolutely open. The police is aware of it.
Yeah.
This particular, we don't know, you and I may not know this, but there is a particular beach called the Dream Beach. We all knew Goa was a dream destination. We are not aware that there is actually a beach called Dream Beach, because Dream Beach is not in any geographical records or in the tourism records or anywhere else.
Yeah.
I do not think Dream Beach is registered under any government authority, but there is a beach.
Yeah.
Okay, and the issue is that there are countless number of parties happening in the Dream Beach. So we wonder, I mean, in which state do these people function? Under what government do these people function? Is it an independent republic in Republic of Anjuna and Shapura? We really need to understand whether Anjuna and Shapura are part of Goa or not. Have they become independent republics on their own, run by some independent dictator who controls all? That is something we need to understand.
Yeah.
Because if you are working under our system, the state system, or if you are an entity under the country that is called India,
Yeah.
how can you be flouting rules with such such openness and audacity?
Yeah.
That is what is shocking. That how do people have the guts to get away with this kind of an attitude? You openly do drugs. You openly do trance parties. You do not take any permission. Your decibel levels are 20, 30, 40, 100 times or more than 100 times the permissible decibel level. You've got equipment worth crores which are being flown down from abroad to have that kind of sound. Has duty been paid on any of these systems? My point is, if we go on and on and on, we can, every second that I speak, I can talk of a violation. So what I'm essentially saying is that this is absolutely appalling, and it needs a very, very strong will, which is absolutely lacking to check this.
Okay, and our last story for this week is dated 29th November, that is Tuesday, the day we are shooting this episode, and that has to do also with an issue that Herald and Herald TV has taken up seriously, and that is with regard to road accidents and drunken driving. In this story, we have the headline: drunken drivers who kill people on the road are murderers, not just reckless drivers. Now, in this case, we have the story of Rima Gonsalves, who was killed by a 17-year-old who is presumed to be a drunk driver, and
well, no, I mean, yeah, more than presumed, it's almost kind of it's certain, though, legally it needs to be proven.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. So another life which has been
Yes.
snuffed out, and again the focus is back on road safety. Not only just developing broad roads,
That's
but
right.
basically on roads.
See, the focus, to be honest, should have never kind of left, because this is a focus that should never be dimmed or lessened. Because if you see even the statistics that have been put out by the traffic department, that every year, if you do a month-to-month comparison,
Yeah.
the number of and I've scrutinized that a lot, and we did a story. If you see the number of fatal deaths going up in accidents is shooting up by 100% and 200%.
Yeah.
It is not enough to compare the accidents to accidents. That is almost the same,
Yeah.
if not a little higher. But if you look at the fatalities within those accidents,
Yeah.
see, earlier, if you had, say, 20 accidents, it's a random figure.
Yeah.
Out of 20 accidents, maybe 4 would be fatal accidents.
Yeah.
Now, out of 20 accidents, literally 14 or 15 would be fatal accidents. And the total number of fatalities within those fatal accidents would be even more. See, for instance, if there is one accident, it is known as one fatal accident.
Yeah.
But if there are 2 people dying, it will be one fatal accident with 2 fatalities.
Yeah.
Okay? So both are increasing. The fatal accidents are also increasing, and the fatalities are also increasing.
Yeah.
It just shows that the accidents have become more, have become worse. The clashes are becoming much more. So obviously, there are more vehicles hitting against each other at greater speed.
Yeah.
And obviously that boils down to absolute recklessness and lack of control. Firstly, there's no traffic sense. Secondly, there's no fear of the law. Thirdly, there are people who should not be driving, not in any condition to drive, who are driving, basically underage people. And fourthly, drunken driving. Now, drunken driving is extremely important, because if you look into the heart of every accident, more than 60 to 70% of accidents would have some linkage with drunken driving, or amount of alcohol which is beyond imagination. In this particular case also, there were beer bottles in the car. There was a minor driving it. So there was a minor driving who shouldn't be driving at all. He was driving drunk and he shouldn't be driving at all. So while this particular minor is in a minor home, not even behind bars,
Jail, yeah.
because his birth certificate allows him to, not to go to jail, because he's 17 and not 18. But the point is, does that mean that a boy of 17 who's drunk should be allowed to go scot-free? Because, and also at the same time, there are so many people who are involved in drunken driving licenses. can we get a data on how many of these licenses have been even cancelled and suspended by the police?
Or RTO,
Yeah, by the police or RTO. So there are no enough deterrents at all. Anything goes, and until and unless there's an absolute crackdown, jail terms are given to people. Licenses should be cancelled for life for many of these people who actually kill people on the roads. Unless that happens, there's going to be no deterrent. Also, I also feel we could even go a step further, saying that if anybody has killed somebody while driving drunkenly, his name should go to the employment exchange. It should be made public to all employers, both private and public. So the issue is, firstly, let the government take a decision that anybody who is involved in drunken driving case will either not get a government job, or if he's in the government, he gets sacked immediately. Have put some out of the box deterrents. Otherwise, things will never improve.
Yeah. Okay. On that note, we wind up the week that was. We hope that you enjoyed the discussions and the analysis behind the stories that you read on a day-to-day basis. I thank my guest, Mr. Sujay Gupta, for his insights and analysis.
Thank you.
We hope you keep watching Herald TV. Thank you for watching this program.